do I had to get a screenshot. The most helpful message for you at this time. And we'll do, I can never remember which side is one to you and one to me. I don't know why, but my brain does not retain that. But I think it's pick one, pick two, and pick three. And if I'm wrong, then maybe I'll correct it next time. So for now, with this dark purple, it's going to be the pick one, the red is the pick two, and the pink is the pick three. And we're looking at the most helpful message for you at this time. Okay, so let's start with pick one. And meanwhile, we're hoping that my new little friend, the chipmunk, comes up onto my porch because I've left him some cereal. And I was outside walking my lawn and putting my feet in the pool before I did this reading. And he just popped up and like let me come close to him, and he's not a chipmunk that is has been in my life before today. So it was surprising that he let me so close, and I'm gonna build a relationship with him because he's obviously very sweet. And he didn't like run away from me. Like, he played a game with me. He like scampered. I came in for some cereal, I came back out, and he was still right in that spot. And then I tried to take a step forward to him to give him some cereal, and he was like, chip, 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 and then he ran around the corner. So I was like, oh, okay. And I put some cereal where he had been. And then when I came around the corner, he was under my, on the like support beam of my stairs. And he was looking at me, like he was waiting for me, like, where you been? Like, I'm right here. So, like, hi. And then, as I took a step forward to him there, he went on my stairs, up to the second stair. And I was like, oh, he's definitely playing with me now. So I left some cereal in both spots and then put some on the top stair. And so I'm hoping that he does feel comfortable enough to come say hi. That would be neat to share with you. Okay. So I just put a crick in my neck when I swung that way. So maybe there is something that you don't want to see, you know, in the future, or something like that. Something that maybe you're fearing what's to come in the future, right? Like, you've stepped into this unknown space, and now it's like, well, what's going to happen? And you're trying to stay in that space of childhood wonder and innocence. So I think that's very beautiful. Let's see what's been going on with you, though, okay? I'm going to start with my astrology oracle. I'm going to use this for lack of a table. You're sitting on my bed and I'm sitting on a chair in front of you. So I'm just painting these bins here. I don't even know what I'm going to use them for, but I think they're adorable. And I found a good clearance sale, so I pretty much bought 50 of them. So the possibilities are limitless, but actually I found out if I stack them every which way, I can make one of those towers to grow vegetables in. So that I'm excited for. And I've also been decorating these for, like, just to match my house, to put some stuff in, maybe. I don't even know what. Okay, so maybe organizing and maybe being creative and all that is something that you're doing as well right now. Yeah, focused on friendships and maybe leaving behind or being reunited with somebody in a past life where you had given a lot to the situation. It's either happened in this lifetime as well, or it's happened in another lifetime, but someone you loved very much and invested in for years and years and years, and they benefited greatly from your investment, and then they left. And so you never essentially got to enjoy the payoff. Not that there really is a payoff to investing in other people, because, you know, if we're loving someone, if we're giving to someone, if we're being there for someone, like, that's our vibration. Our vibration is love, and it's just like pleasant to be in that vibration. So unless we don't have our own cup filled up, we can become resentful. If we don't have our own cup filled up when we're doing that giving, we can become resentful, and I think that was the mythology of Ariadne. And so that might be something that you're realizing at this point, that you need to fill up your own cup before you give to other people. Perhaps somebody, oh yes, this seems to be true. Somebody is coming into your life that happened in a past life, and now they're here to repay the debt to you and to support you where you had supported them in the past without them giving much back to you. They're coming in to support you now. And perhaps just in the form of friendship, but a love is definitely involved. And it's just time. It's just the time to do it. It's just been time. Like, it wasn't like time before now. You've really solidified how you feel about this situation, though. You know that there's some communication to be had. And perhaps even this coming together will affect your reputation in either a negative or positive way. There will be some sort of chaos as a result of this coming together, I think. Or there has been chaos in the coming together with this person, and perhaps it was because there was still that karmic residue from another lifetime that needed to be cleared out before the union or the friendship could really solidify and ground into earth. Yeah, you were definitely feeling some ways, and it was like some ways that it was solid in you, and you may have had to like have the chaos to break that apart. Like, it was like being poked, or them not meeting your expectations, or them betraying you again, or them abandoning you, or them just like leading you on in a way, or just not being fair. Stuff like that could have been going on to like poke in you the discord that you felt, which was likely rooted and left over from a past lifetime. So once that came to light for you, you were able to process through it. It somehow affects your reputation, though, so this is interesting. Tell us more about that, Spirit. Yeah, you've been dealing with the shadow aspects, something that was out of balance. You're bringing it into harmony through friendship, through acknowledgement of your hopes and dreams, and through not being afraid to look at those shadow aspects, loving yourself in all the places where there was discomfort shown to you through the interactions, using your free will to do so, and putting an end to a cycle completely. And perhaps even if it's happening in this lifetime again, you know, it could be a separate, different person that's going to come in to repay you, so to speak. It's like, through the divine, all things are possible, and sometimes retribution doesn't come through the same person, right? Like, sometimes we learn our lessons and get our benefits and blessings through different people than who we feel owe us, because it's just all this divine orchestration. So in this lifetime, there may have been someone that you needed to cut out and put an end to this cycle. Yeah, I think it could be a little bit different for different people or something like that. So just take what resonates for you, okay? Anything else here, Spirit? Yeah, it's definitely caused you to really take things upon yourself and really be a self-starter and really stick up for yourself and really feel more comfortable in who you are and taking the risks that you need to take to proceed through life. And this cleared karma for you, and it actually is going to affect your career in some way, your social standing, your reputation. I don't know how that is, but something's coming into balance in a very beneficial way. It's like Yeah, I think you're now tuned to and able to read much more subtle vibrations. Like before, maybe you were, just going through life with a certain level of awareness, and then through this situation, you started having to pay attention a little more. You started having to like see, what does this mean and what does that mean and why this and why that, things like that. And so it caused you to first break apart anything that was holding you back, and as far as expectations and how you thought things were, and that was probably uncomfortable and caused you to see what things that were in your shadow that were holding you back. And through clearing those things, you're now open to much more subtle vibrations. Now you can pick up on them much easier, much more adept at seeing the truth more clearly and faster. So this situation is actually benefiting you in a big way that you may not have been feeling or aware of, because it was painful and difficult, and sometimes we don't always see the gift in the lessons we have to go through. It's difficult because of the pain and the loss and betrayal that we experience with people that we love. But from a soul's perspective, if this was a karmic thing that was stuck in your ancestry and your energy body and was going to keep perpetuating through all of your life and experience, then you really did need a beautiful friend from a soul level to come in and show you these things, and maybe play the bad guy, or just play the person who couldn't show up for you in the way that you would have preferred. And it caused you to show up for yourself. And it says, oh yeah, it made you be a self-starter. It put you in a position of being confident with who you are and what you're here to do. It says, forge, don't follow. Pave a new path. Be the leader you wish you had. So now you're easily able to see situations for what they are in a way that you couldn't before. And this is going to be a good example for other people who are also dealing with similar things. Then we got Starkeeper, Cosmic Ancestor, seed the light by staying grounded. So this knowledge that you've gained, this wisdom, it comes from other lifetimes. It was always there. It's just that you've been broken open like an egg that's like hatching into this new thing. So you're bringing this to Earth. Like it's something that you carry within you, and now it's going to be forged onto Earth because you brought it here. This subtle, this very attuned way of being with energy and relationship and intimacy. Oh, yes. And then you got life is a canvas. Your life is a canvas. Artist, manifestation, creative accountability. And so this card is telling you, like, you broke away so much karma that now you are manifesting and creating. And you have enough experience to know that you care for what you wish for, that whatever it is in your experience, it's something that you brought here, it's something that's for you. It's a very empowered place to be. Like, you're totally, completely in your power. You've earned it. You've done the work that needed to be done. You didn't fall to victimhood and feeling sorry for yourself. And if you did, it was just for the time that you needed it to be able to feel those things, which were valid ways to feel in the face of what happened to you. Okay. Let's get some advice from Spirit. Spirit, what's the most helpful thing? We got death as an illusion. So I feel like this is like acknowledgement that your ancestors and others are working with you. You haven't been doing this alone, even if you have felt very alone, because I think you have. You're not alone. Forgive yourself. So it may have felt like a self-betrayal to stay in the situation, knowing it just wasn't right, knowing that it wasn't for you. But in actuality, you did gain a lot of insight, information, and experience. You know your strengths. And it's important to be able to move on with this as a wisdom integrated into you. So that involves forgiving yourself. That means loving the part of you that may still feel bad or guilty or wrong or dumb or fooled, or whatever those things our ego can make us feel in the face of having made a decision that put us into a lot more discomfort and pain than we were ready for. Oh, and they just showed me another situation which could have been that you may have done that to somebody else in this lifetime or another one, and you may be the one who was now abandoned, because maybe you abandoned somebody else after they invested in you for a long time, and then when you invested in somebody that you cared about, they abandoned you after you invested in them for a long time. And so this is just a karmic cycle, and so they're saying, forgive yourself. This is part of what you came to do in order to ground this great knowledge and wisdom and energy that involves subtlety and being tuned. You know, it was like an important experience for you. It needed to happen. And then it says, learn from your mistakes. Instead of wallowing or thinking that it wasn't for a purpose, it was for a purpose. It was part of your training, you know? So I know it can feel cruel sometimes to be fooled as part of your training. But set your intentions. What are you going to do with it now? What is your intention now? Because now you're forging your own way. Now you're free of that karmic pattern. Now you're manifesting. Now you're creating. What is your intention with this new freedom that you have? And do that with knowing and understanding that that is something that will happen. So creative accountability is something that they want you to be aware of. We saw in one of the other cards there. And I'm just going to get one from here. Yeah, okay. Alright, so they're acknowledging here for us that there is a level of guilt and shame. That's why they're saying forgive yourself. That's why they're saying learn from your mistakes. If you're learning from your mistakes, it means look at it like it was a lesson to learn. It was like you're on Earth School, and Earth School is involving lessons. So, porcupine, innocence, free yourself of guilt and shame. You made the best decision you could with what you knew at the time. There's no doubt about that, right? So, just like a child needs our understanding, so doesn't the part of you that feels guilty and shameful about the decisions that you made and the experiences that you had. This was definitely, most definitely, part of your soul's plan. When this comes out natal, this means it was in your astrology chart, which we can transcend the chart now. But if it's in your chart, the way to transcend the chart is to go through the chart, is to experience the things in the chart. So it was in your chart to experience this thing. Okay? Oh, and it's saying soul's path, whale. Whale is very wise energy, right? This is not a surprise to me. You're a being from higher dimensions. You've come here to seed something on Earth that Earth needs and wants at this time. And it says honor your soul's purpose. So this has led you to knowledge and understanding that you need. This is like cracking you open, opening you up to who you really are. And it's like, honor that. It's like sometimes boot camp is hard. Sometimes the lessons are rugged, but that's what Earth is, you know? It's like, this is not something to continue to carry or beat ourselves up over. This is something to integrate the knowledge and wisdom of, integrate the pain by loving ourselves, by acknowledging it, validating why it's there. Well, gee, you know, it's there because I made this decision, and it turns out that's not a very kind way to be, to abandon someone who put so much investment in me. I know that now that that's happened to me, or, you know, so on and so forth, and then accept that it happened. Accept it, because if you keep fighting against it, keep trying to resist it, keep trying to not feel the pain of it with addiction or distraction or pleasures, that is a looping cycle that you will always be in. So once you accept it, you don't have to use any energy to fight against it anymore. It's just like part of you. And you're not just that part. You're all the parts that survived everything that you survived to this point. You know, so rescue that little part of you that needs your love, and then love it. Love and let that part be with you. That part that was willing to make a decision and to take a risk and to learn something, you know? And who may have regrets and need your love and comfort and understanding. Because what's regret good for, really? You know, this is just experience that we're having on Earth. And then you got Moose, authority. You know what is best for you. You knew when you made the decision to go on this path that it was the best thing for you, and you know now what to do. Okay? You've always been on your path and in control, and some of the experiences that you've had were needed to either clear karma or to teach you something or to push you into a new perspective that you needed in order to fulfill your soul's purpose. Okay? You've done nothing wrong. You're doing a great job. And that is what Spirit wants you to know at this time. Okay? I hope that you find that helpful. Thank you for spending your time with me. And maybe we'll see you next time. Pick 2. Hello, if you picked the red Sharpie, this reading is for you. And we're asking Spirit for the most helpful message for you at this time. And I'm going to use my astrology oracle to first see what's going on with you. Okay? Okay. So you've received some sort of gift from hard work and determination and being a boss in a way. It's like you weren't afraid to dig into something, and we got Pandora, so like it's open Pandora's box, so to speak. You may have caused a little chaos poking around, being curious into places that you didn't know, like going with force and going with emperor type energy, and now you have gotten a gift out of this situation. I think it's going to help you with the work you do and just using your energy in a more efficient manner. It may have had to do with the dark side of women, the shadow side of the feminine, which can be vengeful, ruthless, but very powerful and determined and strong. And she's not really vilified, but can be in this society, so it may have been that there were judgments against the darker side of women, or women who can see into the dark, perhaps. But by going there, by being present with that, I think you've uncovered something that's very valuable to you. And you've kind of set the scales in balance, and you've just started to feel a different way about something. And I think it's like ignited some sort of force in you that's ready, just like the woman was ready to be powerful and dominant where needed and stick up for herself. Like, you were always that, but now it's like even more. It's like now you're much more skilled at it. You're doing it from a more whole place. Yeah, it's like you say you were doing it from this one angle, but now you're doing it from this higher angle. You've seen something from a different view. And it's something that changed the foundation of who you are. It's revealed to you some sort of imbalance, and I think it was imbalance with the way you were celebrating life and how you were partying it up or something. Like, yes, this has caused you to ground something to earth, to bring stability to something. Gain wisdom, shine a light on things that maybe like were little like parts of you that were being avoided and not acknowledged. Like some sort of light was shined on a healing aspect, or like collecting fragmented pieces of self that would be useful for you. Maybe that is the gift you received. This was done through communication and subtle tension, very subtle tension. It would only be picked up on by people who can feel subtle energy. You knew something was out of balance and it was being brought to your attention. This is very interesting. Anything else here, Spirit? Most helpful message for pick 2 at this time? This is affecting love and your commitments, what you agree to. You've gained wisdom on a situation through some wise counsel, and it's caused you to let one way of feeling go and start a whole new way of feeling. Interesting. Alright, let's see what the higher purpose of all this was with the Starseed Oracle. This one to pop out, let's just see. Your life is a canvas, artist, manifestation, creative accountability. I think you feel more in control of what you're living now, more able to direct what you're living and more able to take accountability, more willing to create new with that like warrior, like go get 'em, like energy from this more whole perspective. It's like you came to do this. You're not afraid of this chaos. And I think you really are inspired to something that's really industrious. Earth, learning how to be human in the world but not of it. Perhaps you got more reassurance and more acceptance for self as a being that is here not to fit in. Not to fit in the world but not of it, meaning I'm not going to fit into what other people are doing. I'm here to earth something. I'm here to be who I am, to shine my light, to show the aspects of me that I had never shown before, to let those glisten out. And look, it's like a kaleidoscope here. Look, it's like fractal out is what I got. Okay, can we get one more of these, Spirit? They're like, no, you need a few more. Okay. Okay then. I remember. Soul plan. The fated life versus the destiny life. Oh, yes, yes. I love this. Okay. So what this means is, when we come here, we have a destiny. We know that we want to accomplish something. Here, see here, we're looking up above. We're going up. We're going in. We're going in. I feel like you just got cracked open to a whole new level. You were in fate. So fate is all the things that you're going to experience. Maybe they're karma. Maybe they're just certain checkpoints. Maybe they're like lessons that need to be learned before you can continue on to destiny. And once you get the fate like integrated into you, so the fate is just like a looping energy. The fate is like something I'm going to relive over and over again. It's my fate. Well, you can break out of fate by integrating the karma loop and then using that wisdom gained and the power gained to proceed on to your destiny. So on the way to destiny, we have many loops of fate that we will be repeating until we learn the lesson and decide to move on from. And I do feel like some sort of thing happened where you collected a piece of yourself that needed to be collected from a fate loop, and now you've decided to move along to your destiny. Feels good. Jump in. Andromedan energy, adventure, say yes to change. Yeah, see, you broke out of the loop, so now you know you're going toward your destiny, and you may have an idea or an understanding that you do have a destiny, but now, like, all the steps and all the energy, everything's kind of new. Like, it's not going to look exactly like it did before. It's going to be from a slightly higher angle. And Andromedan energy, that's 12th dimension. That's something I'm very familiar with. Andromedan energy loves freedom. Very much individuals. Yeah, they cannot stand being caged. They are open to adventure. And I feel like that is the part of yourself that you started to open up to even more. You collected that bit of yourself. Yeah. Sorry, I just got like really moved emotionally. So it's just really beautiful. We got Hiereth, longing for home, homesick for the stars. So it's like, you know, you're not of this place. You know that. And the thing about this card, what it tells me is when we do long for the place that we're from, for home, for the comfort of like-minded individuals and beings that get us on that deeper level, and others who know the 12th dimension, and, you know, things like that. It's like Earth is our home right now. And if we want to feel home, we have to bring home here. And that was the whole purpose of being here. That was the whole purpose of coming. That was the whole purpose of traversing the fate loops and going towards the destiny and learning the difficult things that needed to be learned. Because we're bringing a piece of home here. So that's what you're doing. Inner Earth, you'll survive this. New solutions and beginnings. So yeah, you've stepped out of that fate loop, so everything is looking all new. It may feel very uncomfortable, it may feel very unsure, insecure. The things that used to work don't work anymore. The people that you interact with, they don't see you the same anymore. You don't see them the same anymore. It doesn't feel the same anymore. There'll be new people to deal with, new solutions and beginnings. So allow for that and know that that's part of this, and that you do have everything it takes. And that it may seem like there's a lot to accomplish still. There's still a mountain to traverse, and you are very comfortable in that fate. But this is what your soul came for, and it's going to get easier and easier, and the way will be lit for you. Divine is with you the whole time. I don't know why I'm so emotional. I kind of know why I'm so emotional over this reading, but... Star family. You're part of a team of souls. Call and support. So you're not alone. You know, you're not alone here. You've come here with a team. We're all working on this, you know. Look at all those souls here. And you may, if you can't access them in the immediate surroundings, you can access them on the other planes, you know. Go into the astral, speak to your team, be open to it. Know that you are being guided. You just have to ask, you know, you just have to make them a part of your presence. You've stepped into the place where you will be able to hear them, see them, feel them. And there are also probably beings in the 3D that you have now connected with, who are part of that star family. So advice from Spirit, be of service. So be of service is probably something that you already do, but I'm going to say that this is not a pressured advice. What I get when I have this card, be of service. Being of service means being who you are. That energy that you are, the light, the love, the higher knowledge, the freedom seeker, the adventurous one. This is something Earth needs, right? All the knowledge and wisdom that you have and are is being grounded here to Earth. And so the service that you provide is just being you. The example that you are is being of service to others. Okay? So in any time we're being of service to others, because I know that we did have industrious, so this may be inspiring you to be in service literally to other people in a way, and through like a business or something, a career, to share your gifts that way. So what I would say about that is always just like, only give from your overflow, only give from your filled up cup. Always fill up your cup first. It has to be you first, and then give from the overflow, or you become drained and then resentful, and then you can't really be of service when you let yourself be drained, right? Give without expectation. It's more of that. It's like, okay, so there's a formula here on Earth as we're being in service to others. A lot of us, it's our nature, especially with a lot of Jupiter energy. We are generous and benevolent beings, especially from Andromeda. We give and give, and when we are a human, what happens is if we have given selflessly, if we've given without ourselves in the equation, we become resentful. It just happens. It's not our fault. It's just like how the formula of being a human works. So, in order to give without expectation, here's another advice to fill up your own cup first. It's a permission. It's a prompting. It's a saying like, your fate loop probably already just taught you this, and maybe this is the acknowledgement of it. Like, you learned that you want to give without expectation because you're probably not going to get back what you put in, which is interesting because it's kind of tied to the first experience too, in a way, but much different. It's different energy, different people, I can see. But in order to give without expectation, we have to put ourselves in the equation. We have to be giving from our filled up cup, meaning our needs are met, meaning don't go giving when your needs aren't met yet. Put yourself in the equation. Like, the example that I have is, I'm a person who has recovered from people pleasing. And at first, when I discovered I was a people pleaser, I was like, alright, well, fuck this. I'm done saying yes to everybody. I'm done just serving everybody else. I'm done just like being this selfless being who's only here to serve other people. I've never even, 40 years old, and I had never even looked at what I like doing as a human being. And so I just stopped helping people for a long time, for years. And I started to get self-sufficient, and I didn't want to ask people for help either. Like, I couldn't ask people for help. So I was definitely like going to be on my own then, right? And so it was a good experience for me, but like then when I started helping people again, I noticed that, like, say if it was for my children or my loved ones, my family, I would just automatically say yes without even taking that moment to think about me. So all I had done by stop being people-pleasing at first was just swing to the other way, so I would avoid doing it. But what I needed to do was come into balance on it and put myself in the equation, because otherwise when I started helping again, I was in that same old pattern of like, my kid would call and it would be like I didn't even take a moment to consider whether he really had an emergency, whether I really was needed to drop everything I was in the middle of, like, and like there were a few occasions which showed me, I was like, okay, had I not dropped everything I was doing, I probably wouldn't be in this bad situation trying to rescue my son from his dysfunctional cycle, you know? And so I was kind of enabling him in his cycle by being this rescuer. And I was like, okay, here's a good reason to stop doing this. And then it was like, okay, I'm going to finally... And then there was an example where he called and I was like, okay, I took a pause before saying yes. And I asked him questions and we figured out, that maybe, what he needed in that moment was something that he could handle a different way, and things like that. And so it wasn't that I was not helpful, it was that I put myself in the equation so that I didn't have to abandon myself in the moment that I was offering help. And then when I offered the help that I had to offer, I was honoring myself and him, And yes, it's difficult for some people, especially when you've been in a pattern of serving them and rescuing them. Some of them get mad first, but then they understand later, So I'm just sharing that story because it's the best example I have of, like, there's that automatic pattern we can get into when we are serving others as who we are, as part of what we are, and I think the Andromedans are very giving, so appreciate your talents. Yeah. So what are your talents? Let's talk about that. What are your talents? We talked about getting that gift, right? Let's ask Spirit, what are your talents? Because you may already know that, but in case you want to know, what is it that Spirit says you should appreciate? Well, I'll just get a few from this, and then the other deck I think will tell us the rest. Appreciate your talents. What talents? Your ability to compensate for any weaknesses you have, that's one talent. Your ability to work with less than the tools that you need. You're like an improviser. Your ability to thrive in the mystery, to go into the unknown, to be in the spiritual realm, your spiritual talents. Big, 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 big. Your ability to relate with other people and your ability to know the difference between right and wrong. Your perseverance is a talent, and also your resolve. I mean, you're a force. Yeah, we saw that in the first section where Zeus came out. Yeah, you have a lot of power. So appreciate that, you know? Yeah, okay. And then we got, don't relinquish your power. So in what ways are you at risk of relinquishing your power? Let's ask that. In what ways is pile 2 at risk of relinquishing their power? By making decisions too quick. Or by not making decisions at all. Yeah, like, no, you're creating this, right? So if you want something to happen, you got to make it happen. If you don't want something to happen, you got to change it. And you may have a tendency to relinquish your power when people use guilt or shame. When people try to guilt or shame you, or in order to avoid feeling guilt or shame. So nothing that you've done is wrong. Nothing. You don't need to feel guilt or shame, right? Because you're here, like, actually doing something. Like, you have a lot of power. You have a high calling. And some of the things that you had to traverse may not have been that pretty. May have been very difficult. May have forced you to experience things that you didn't enjoy. You may have needed to do that to clear karma. You may have needed to do that to play the bad guy for someone else to clear karma. Like, this is part of a plan, a bigger orchestration. Nothing. You are innocent. You are innocent. So free yourself of guilt and shame, and don't relinquish your power. You are in control. No, nothing anyone else tries to make you feel or think. You have to be in the equation, and you know better. You know why you made the decisions you made. You know why you have to make the decisions you're going to make. You are in control of this. You're driving this. Okay? Whew. Any other advice here, Spirit? Oh, shit. God, I'm so emotional over this reading. So first of all, before I tell you this, I just want to tell you, I honor you. Thank you for being here. And you got Raven, magic. Own your power is the advice. You've been initiated. You've stepped up. You have access to your magic like you haven't before. Your will, your drive, your force, your mind. It's power. It can make things happen. It can implant thoughts. You know the difference. You know what you're going to pay karma for, and you know where it's beneficial, right? Like, this is something that can be used to your advantage in ways that will not create karma, that are only here in the highest. The Most High. Trust you. Here. Yeah. Alright, one more. One more probably for a selfish reason, which is I don't want to let this energy go for a second, but I'm going to. Okay. Advice. The imagination. Imagination is like this tool of creation. That's where you go into the astral, right? Immerse yourself in artistic and creative expression. Okay, now the reason for this is because one of the laws of the universe, right, the Hermetic principles are that everything has masculine and feminine energy. Everything. So the masculine is protective and forceful and stands its ground. And the feminine is creative and nurturing and feeling and emotional and is driven by the urge. Feminine is driven by the urge, and we all have both, no matter if you're man or woman. And in the higher realms, we appreciate and know that, and we understand that we need the feminine energy here on earth in order to create, in order to really control our creation. Because yes, we can do it with our masculine mind. People used to tell me that you can't do that, but I know you can, because I know that I've used my masculine energy to create. I know I've used my masculine energy to manifest. But there's this other way to do it, and when you do it from your masculine energy, you're doing it from what you already know, and a lot of times from your ego and protection mechanisms, right? Because that's what masculine energy is. If you do it from the feminine energy, you're going to be able to ground that higher dimension here on earth, like you came to do, like is part of your destiny, like it's bringing home here. So you do need the feminine energy in order to do that. And one way to get into the feminine energy is to be artistic and create and express yourself creatively. And also, like, one trick that I used and learned along the way is to just like imagine a waterfall flowing onto you and receiving all that water. That can put you in the receiving mode, right? So then you're going to receive downloads from your highest self and your guides and angels much more easily. Okay. And it's very, very fascinating. Like, I've experimented with it a lot. Like, just going into the grocery store and putting myself in feminine mode. It's amazing how many people just can't even not look, in my direction, just because I'm in that receptive mode. If I go in masculine mode, I could go through the whole grocery store and not one person even notice me, So it's very, very interesting. These energies are very powerful. And the last card you got for advice is links, discernment. Look beyond immediate appearances. So you can see into people, you can see into things. You understand that there's a higher meaning and higher orchestration going on. And so they're just saying, like, always look and feel into those more subtle energies that you have access to. Because there's a lot there, especially now that you've leveled up. Like, before, you were very good at that loop, that level you were at. Now there's more to see under the surface, and once you like really attune to it and feel it and get ready to receive it, you're gonna be really open. Did you see how the light in here just changed? It's like your perspective now is different. Your perspective is much more open, and you're ready for the next leg of the journey. Okay? Wow, it's been quite an honor. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate you. Appreciate what you're doing here. Appreciate you spending your time with me. I appreciate being allowed to admire your energy and the work you're doing. So thank you. And maybe we'll see you next time. Hi, Pick 3. We're just doing a little Palo Santo in between here. It smells so nice. So you chose the pink Sharpie. And this is going to be your reading. We're looking at the most helpful message for you at this time. And we're going to start with the Astrology Oracle. So while I hold this Palo Santo, I'm just going to like shuffle the Astrology Oracle a little bit. So we're going to start out with asking Spirit, what's going on with you? Okay. You are getting grounded. You are maybe dealing with organization or structures within your life. something where you're structuring your career, perhaps, using your boss energy in a way. Or there could be a boss that's influencing your career heavily right now. You're maybe in a karmic pattern, maybe in something that feels restrictive, or like you have a lot of responsibilities. Oh, we have the Capricorn Cancer axis, so you're having to balance that restriction and responsibility with the care and nurturing that you or another requires. I think you're becoming really conscious of what is in your heart and following your heart and making sure you do right by yourself and others. Or maybe you were in a cycle of doing that a lot, like always weighing everything, like maybe being like hyper vigilant about it, like, oh, is this going to be affecting someone negatively? Is this going to affect me? Like really indecisive maybe even. And wanting to know more and understand more about, have more control over things. Some sort of truth has been revealed to you about, it's a spiritual truth. It's something about your spirituality, how you use it, what it can be used for, what other people are using theirs for, the power in it, the power that you came into this world with spiritually. I think it's something maybe you didn't always have consistent access to, but are becoming more and more comfortable with, being like a self-starter and independent, and maybe living alone. I don't know why, but maybe for some of you there was more codependency in your family upbringing, and now you're just like transitioning into being more on your own and stuff like that. There's a soul contract that something is a bit out of balance with another person, or the way that you relate with people now. Like maybe you still have people in your life that want to relate to you in an old way that you don't relate to anymore. And you're more in tune with like your urge and who you really are, and what, like, maybe even what spirit is pushing you towards and trying to help you see and do on earth here. Maybe there's a situation like from the past there, from where you came from, that you have held on hope for, to like to bring harmony into a situation that was from the old way of relating. Like you're now trying to like transition it and bring it up to a higher way of relating, a higher like harmonic, and it's like that's part of your contract with that person, or with people in general, that you're gonna like break a pattern of codependency, really. Yeah. And just feeling a little bit bound by your devotion to others. This is something your soul wanted to experience, and it's something that tied in from a past life, and it's something that was really wounded. It really wounded you in a past life, I think. And it's like, so in this life you came in with a focus on it. Like it started out right in your family home, so that you would definitely focus on it. You would be forced to, first of all, experience the shattering of that foundation. So that may have been very difficult. You've traversed times that you were unsure, and things seemed up in the air and unfair. And the challenge has been to use the ways that you feel unsafe and unsure and hurt and pain through this situation, through all the unknown and the twists and turns and the instability, to create balance. You might even make a career out of it. Yeah, you're really making things fair. You're finding new ways to make things fair and relating dynamics that are outdated. And you know they're outdated. And that's why you've been given the strength that you have. A lot of strength. A lot of caring and love and nurturing. A lot of structure. A lot of responsibility. Willing to take anything on and down for the truth. But definitely making things fair. Like, that's a big theme here coming through. Like, is this right? Is this wrong? Like, that started out to be something that limited you, I think. And now it's something that's you're like looking at it from a higher angle and creating it instead of worrying about it. Something like that. Anything else here, Spirit? Yes, this has to do with your agreements and what you agree to in your day-to-day relating, and maybe what you do for work. And it has to do with the premise of hope, of like, alright, tell us more about hope here. Like, what is the deal with the person keeping hope? Like, is it bad to keep hope in this situation? What is this situation here? I'm going to ask about... that came up twice. I'm going to put most of these back in and then ask, what are they trying to say about hope? You kept hope for a situation. You've been creating the balance in a situation. Oh. I have a video on my YouTube, and it's called Bridging the Gap Between Hope and Faith. And so when it comes to manifesting and attracting and being how we want to be on earth, we have to be the thing that we want. So if we are always in hope, then we are always in the vibration of wishing for something. If we're hoping for something, we're wishing for it. If we upgrade that to faith by learning to trust ourselves, by trusting in the higher power and the divine orchestration, that's a higher vibration, and that's just like trust. That's knowing. And so if we need to trust and have faith, first we have to trust ourselves. We have to trust ourselves to make the decisions that we need to make. So that was something that was shown here in this reading, that decisions was a difficult thing. Let's see what it's saying. Or was it a point of contention, at least, something that you noticed that was like difficult? And I think that can sometimes stem from having made decisions in other lifetimes or earlier on in this lifetime where we didn't like the consequences and we had to pay a certain price, and so sometimes that makes us hesitant to make future decisions. But really, the things that if we reap the lesson and understand what we needed to learn from a situation, even if we made a decision that we didn't like the consequences of, all of that's valuable. Right? Like, you know what you do want by knowing what you don't want. So, making decisions that turn out to be not the results we want is very valuable. And it's not wrong. And sometimes in our punishment and reward parenting paradigm, it becomes very risky to be wrong. And so a lot of us have egoic coping mechanisms that don't want us to be wrong. So sometimes, some way, some people cope by just not making decisions, right? This is something that's been showing up for you in the last month's time within a relationship, a specific relationship, a partnership, and it's because it's gotten a lot louder right now because now's the time when the energy is ripe for you to deal with it. So, alright, let's look at the higher view of this, Spirit, please. From the Starseed Oracle. The blue flame, spontaneous awakening, activation, integration time. So maybe as I'm saying this, you're just seeing this, or maybe something has come into your awareness like spontaneously because it was time for it to come. Something has become illuminated to you. You may be starting to use the blue flame energy. When you're activated, it means sometimes it's a loop of energy that kind of comes into your awareness, and then you like can't even get lost in it. Like, I would use those words trigger and activation interchangeably, and I'm not necessarily saying that that's what this always means, but it's coming to mind that the things within this relationship that activate you in a painful way or a discomfort way are the keys to the freedom that you're looking for, are the roadmap to your healing, are the things that you need to love in yourself, or that you're hoping to love in yourself as from a soul's perspective. Inner Earth, you'll survive this, new solutions and beginnings. So it's saying, yeah, the hope that you've had for this relationship just needs to be turned to faith, and there will be solutions, there will be new beginnings, new ways of being. You're seeding them, you're being shown the way through light, through things being illuminated in you, which sometimes takes that activating of something that's darker to show a light on it. It's like, oh, I've been doing it this way, you know? Hayarith, longing for home, homesick for the stars. So yeah, from a higher perspective, it's like as a soul, you already know this, what you're going to be bringing to Earth here. It's a piece of who you are from where you came from. And this higher way of relating is ready to be brought to Earth. And so instead of feeling homesick, you know, just remember that Earth is your home right now. Earth needs you right now, and you are doing a service for Earth by working through and building this bridge of one lower way of being to a higher way of being. So that essentially brings your home to Earth. So you're creating home on Earth by being who you really are, and the devotion and love and caring and all of that that's needed to bring these higher ways of being. So let's look for advice from Spirit. Let go of your judgments, forgiveness. Okay, so in order to have a relationship be born in a higher light, we have to let go of all the old stuff. And like we said, that was just a roadmap to your healing. So as you heal each offense, each thing that hurt, each discomfort, each trigger, each activation, you forgive yourself and the other. And this is allowing the space needed to have the relationship come in a higher way. Beaver, productiveness. Go ahead and just do it. Whatever you've been on the edge of doing, whatever you thought you needed to do, whatever the urge has been pushing you to do, especially in relationship with another person where there's been a lot of hope, it's time to do it. They're saying, do it. You make it happen. You know, the beaver's not afraid to do a lot of work, and he knows it's a step-by-step process. And also let go of control. Maybe the reason why you haven't taken a certain step or a leap or just done it is because you've been unsure about making those decisions, because it was like high stakes to make a mistake. You know, it was, if you made a mistake, you could be made fun of, you could be unappreciated, you could be less important, you could be really treated quite poorly depending on the parental figure you had, right? So sometimes we try to control a lot of things or stay in a comfort zone where we feel like things are in control. And actually it's saying let go of that control, surrender. You know, you're here for something else, so it's time to be willing to go into that. And playfulness, take time to play. It doesn't have to be so serious. And also that's going to put you in the feminine energy where you're going to hear and feel what the next step is. And that's a really important part of this. You don't have to like focus on it. You don't have to think about it over and over and over again. Just get in a playful mood, and then when you're ready and you have the urge and the energy's right, do it. You can't control the outcome here, and you're not meant to. Your way's being lit up, and it's not being lit up in a way that you're going to know exactly, because you are on that axis of Capricorn and Cancer. You're being asked to balance out the way that you structure and control versus your feelings and intuition. You want to use them both together in a balanced way, and so you may have been using one more than the other, and it's asking you to balance this out. Okay? Everyone has value. And I feel like something that I say when this card comes out is, I mentioned the 7 Essene mirrors. There's a video on YouTube done by Greg Braden. It's like 3 hours long, but he talks about 7 ways that people can be mirroring back to us. And I think of that when I say everyone has value, and especially in when we're talking about in relationship with another person in your life, where you're trying to build a rainbow bridge of a higher way of relating and being. It's asking you to recognize that this person and every other person that has led you up to this person, every other karmic relationship that has shown you something, has shown you something. It has been very valuable, every single one. And it's not like you've done anything wrong or wasted any time, because every reflection that you got back from other people showed you something in you, how you cope, what you do to relate, where are your weaknesses, where are your strengths. You know, all of that is very important. You know, so, and also that you have value, to value yourself very high, because what you have to offer to others is very important and needed and wanted on this earth. Death is an illusion, so this means you're not alone. You may have a loved one guiding you if you've been getting urges and prompts and just like just feeling like someone's cheering you on, or, you know, kind of just messing with your energy, maybe even playing with you. I feel like it's pointing out that, like, you're not alone. Your loved ones are there still. And then release toxic relationships. So we did touch on the fact that there may be karmic relationships and how those served as a mirror. So yes, you're coming together, it looks like, in a higher way with a certain relationship, and that means you need to let go of the toxic type of relating that was being done, and that may have been shown to you in the form of other relationships, the ones that were causing you to be stuck in a cycle of coping that you saw more than one time. That's when you know it's toxic. If it's just like triggered you once, you know, it's probably this relationship. But if it's been stuck in a cycle of doing the same thing over and over again that feels really bad and never changes, that's a toxic relationship. And they are encouraging you to release that, because it was valuable for you to learn from it, but it is not needed to bridge the gap and bring to earth what you wanted to bring in the form of a higher way of relating, specifically with other people, and possibly even specifically with another person. Wow, 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 wow. Well, I really appreciate the work that you're doing here. Thank you so much for doing it. I admire it. I can relate to it very much, and I appreciate your time, you spending it with me. And the fact that you're doing this work on Earth, I appreciate very, very much. I'm excited for all the things that we're doing here on Earth and for the evolution that we're going through. I came for it too. And thank you. Thank you for being part of it. Maybe I'll see you soon.